Well, team, wouldn't you know it? We get another run in the pre-market just to get disappointed at the open. Boom, right back down towards 413 when we were just up there to 416 on the SPY. Let's take a look at the market. Talk about, of course, our swing trading action going on out there. You guys smash the like. We're going to get into it here. Let's take a look at the market, see what is going on right now. The SPY right now just made a down move, but it was a big wick. I'm wondering if we start to recover here and start making the move back up, taking a look at stocks like Tesla to see what's going to happen there. I was looking at maybe playing even Tesla on swing action here. So we'll see what happens there. I do have, of course, some positions that we can go through. Some of these are going to be smaller, some will be bigger, of course. I did take a position in sound for the swing. We'll see what happens there. I was able to take a little bit of profit today, but if it does go through three, I definitely don't want to see it kind of cut through. Just looking for this to kind of continue going. Of course, this is trying to ride the AI hype, right? Well, I'm trying to continue riding the AI hype. We'll see what happens here in SoundHound AI if it could really get moving. And of course, I don't want to see it kind of break down here, but we'll see what happens here towards the end of the day. Definitely could risk a little bit since I was able to make a profit on this trade already, but we'll see what happens there. The next one that I had on since yesterday, this one had good news and then turned around on me a little bit into the intraday action. So got to just consider what's the plan here, right? Well, I'm just going to stick with the plan because my idea wasn't for this news to kind of come out, of course, but something to definitely keep an eye out. We'll see what happens. And that news, of course, was that this morning here, we got that Danaher is no longer interested in acquiring Catalent, and that's CTLT. You can see how CTLT was getting hit in the pre-market. That continued going down here, really got hit there. But, of course, pulling back here, DHR, after it was up there to 260s. Of course, original entry for us, at least for me, 252.68, right? We got to keep an eye out to see what happens there on DHR. But I'm up still about 1.6%. Don't need to close this by any means. It's going to continue to ride it up and see if diagnostics and research can get the lift. Today, TMO in the red a little bit after a nice little gap up because of what was going on in DHR. I also have DXCM, very similar play, right, in the same space. We'll see what happens with this one. Can it continue to run or not? That's Dexcom. Let's keep it moving here, team. Let's go to the S&P 500. Let's go to the Qs. That's really what I'm focusing on. Can the Qs recover on the day? Was this just a fake out to the downside? Will we get the power hour rally? And stick around, team. Of course, we got a great guest for you guys. A little bit later, we'll be joined by Ryan Rosebiani. Excited to go ahead and talk to him. He's also been doing a Sunday stock watch. So if you guys haven't checked out his Sunday night show and you guys just like to look at stocks on Sunday night, well, that's definitely the show for you guys. That starts at 8 p.m. on Sundays. So he does it a little bit later, but that's just the kind of guy he is. He's hanging out, looking into his market before, of course, Mondays. So I hope you guys tune into that. Ryan will be joining us in just about 25 minutes. Let's keep going. Let's get into the market. Let's see what is hot today, what isn't. And of course, not much hot, but let's get into it. Consumer defensives taking a little bit of a lift. When we're thinking defensives, what are we thinking? Well, we're thinking tobacco, confectioners, discount stores, beverages, right? Those types of names. Well, we know how PG has been making a recent lift. This pulled back for a couple of days, but now catching the 9 EMA and wanting to go higher. Value names getting a little bit of a push today to the upside, right? So I've been keeping an eye on Colgate-Palmolive. Will this get the lift here? KHC. Of course, you guys remember I actually played this recently, got out for a really small gain, but it just felt like it wasn't going anywhere. And now we're seeing a little bit of a lift in this space. Discount stores getting a little bit of an uplift there. Walmart continuing a little bit higher, back above the 150s. I think it's going to be important if we can get above that 150 like we are right now, actually to hold above that 150 to see that continued lift. One that I'll be watching to see if we can get the push is Costco. You guys can take a look here on the weekly chart. I kind of like this outlook. If we can really get back above this level, really kind of start testing through the 500, going towards the 520, I'll keep this one on my radar, especially a move back up through 500. Could be a good outlook to kind of take a nice risk and reward off of for a break towards 520. We'll see what happens there in Costco Corp, of course. And you can take a look at BJ, see if that turns around. That's been going kind of sideways since pretty much February. Want to see this kind of get the lift back towards the upside. We'll see what happens there in BJ. Ollie's been getting the lift as of late. Not necessarily a stock that I look at often, but it is getting a little bit of a push, especially on the day. Beverages and soft drink, Coke and Pepsi. I remember when they were down here, we drew this line. We were looking to see if it was going to take that right back up, because if you remember, this is exactly what happened last time. Coke kind of rode up there. Then Pepsi led that right back down because Pepsi led that move. It reported first, came back down, now starting to take right back off, right back towards these highs, 185. We'll see with some good earnings. Can Pepsi get that next lift? Monster looks like it wants to continue going to the upside. KDP is definitely one that we'll keep on watch to see if this can finally get going here. That's a move back above, let's say 35.60s. I'll set an alert there to see if we can get back into this space above the 35.64 mark. Let's see what happens there in Keurig and Dr. Pepper. Who's a Dr. Pepper fan out there? It's not my favorite soda. I got to be honest. I can drink it. Some people can't even drink it, but I actually like kind of more of a root beer than a Dr. Pepper. But hey, that's to each his own. Catching up with the chat. How we doing out there? It's good to see you guys. Walter, Easy. How we doing out there? It's good to see you. Kevin. Who else we got out there? We got Bruce, of course. XOM daily chart showing a bullish engulfing candle. We'll take a look at that. That definitely seems interesting. And Jay Rice, of course, coming in here with some names that he's looking at. 52-week high. A good day for shoes. We were just talking about that yesterday. Would Deck make the move right back to the upside? Crocs continue higher. Now, one name that we did mention with that one was the Nike. Did Nike go higher today? Let's take a look. We were looking at this move. Could we get back up there towards the highs? It's kind of like holding in right now. Did kind of pull back towards that 125, now catching a little bit of the bid. This doesn't look too bad here for maybe a little bit of some swing trade action off that 125. You can see kind of this kind of cup that's we're forming will be formed kind of like the handle and now take off through the 127. This doesn't look bad at all. We'll keep this one on watch. I'm not going to take it right now just because I would look for a little bit of some pullback action, but this doesn't look bad at all. Maybe around 126 if we can get that tomorrow or get some pullback in this one. Nike building up there. On. Ooh, taking off there. And I know that there was someone that actually I think put not a short, but an analyst against this on. Look at that nice little move right back higher. This looks like it wants to keep going. And I've mentioned it, Nike, there was a lot of people in that store, but back here, look at that nice little push through the 478, pulled back yesterday, didn't even get to the 9 EMA. This stock is just a monster. And I'll give it to you, Jay, your Crocs looking good. Nice day 3 move, 3 advancing soldiers taken to the upside. We'll see what happened on that. Any updates on the bear cave, guys? Sorry about that. Stay focused. What happened there really was that with the whole event kind of situation, I had to push Edwin Dorsey back. So I'm trying to line up a scheduling that makes sense. I'll try to get that done before Friday, but no guarantees yet. I will let you know once he's scheduled. Stay focused. Of course, you've seen the action in Airbnb. It's been kind of going sideways. Pulled back a little bit today. We'll see if that ever starts getting going so I could take a little bit of a shot on Airbnb. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other stocks. Of course, let's get to the stocks that were strong today. We talked about some defensive names. Let's keep going into energy. We did get a mention in the chat about XOM. That was, of course, from Bruce. Let's go ahead and bring his comment in here. Daily chart showing an engulfing, bullish engulfing candle. Let's take a look at XOM, right? So you guys see here, nice little push back higher trying to get up through that 116.80s. Nice sideways action, has made an up one, down one, up two, down two, up three, down three. Did not break this support here. And I think that's very important. From now on, I will stay bullish as long as XOM is above 114 for me. And this could keep going higher and push right back through 52-week highs. So look at XLE. Look how this is setting up now, right back for that upside action. Of course, I drew this before, so let's see what happens here. It's starting to catch that 9 EMA. And remember, I drew this red line. If we ever come back through that red line, I will get back to that short outlook. But if we don't break this, because I drew this on March 8th, updated it on the 21st, I'm going to update it right now. We're going to pull it to the side here. If we ever see it close this gap back towards 83, yes, I can go short again on these names. But until then, this looks like it wants to actually push right back through these trend line and take to the next levels. So we'll see what happens here. Can it get that next push higher? Can it push towards 90? Yes, it definitely could. So I'll keep this one on radar, especially right now towards the close. It's already looking good here as it starts to push higher. If we think oil is going to make a move, why not just go for XLE here? Nice little move here off the 86.50 here. Doesn't look too bad. I don't mind the outlook here. I'm going to definitely keep this one on radar. And you talked about XOM. That's pushed a little bit too high for me to take a swing right now, but I do think it could move higher also. Chevron is one that's coming back right now, kind of on a lag basis. If I wanted to take this one doesn't look too bad. Maybe if I want to risk off of 170 here for Chevron today, and then just risk off the 170 right below it, I actually don't mind that trade here. My biggest thing is today, I'm just trying to keep watch to see what's going to happen towards the end of the day. Are we going to get that power hour rally? It looks like we're getting it right now. So keeping an eye on a stock like Tesla. Tesla could go back higher. Of course, they report earnings tomorrow after the bell, and Netflix reports earnings after the bell today. So guess what, team? This was one of the stocks that I was able to nail today. Stopped out of it after the recent pullback, but really nice shots on Netflix today. I day traded it to the upside to kind of take some trades into some of the earnings stocks today. Another one that I traded that I actually took a hit on was UAL, and look how it's reacting right now. So don't want to get into too much further into the line, but we just talked about energy. Let's go to the third leading sector today, which is industrials, as I took some trades here. So let's get into those. You guys smash the like if you guys enjoy the way this show flows from sectors to industries so that you guys can learn where the rotation's going and what was hot and what was not, team. Let's keep it moving. Let's take a look at some industrial plays. Of course, Lockheed Martin continuing through the 500, a play that we talked about right here on Start Swing Trading. So if you guys want to get some awesome swing trading ideas, this was one that I didn't execute properly on. I got out a little bit too early, was trying to get it at the 470s. Then reached up towards the 474, stopped out at 471, should have held to that 470, would have been able to ride this from 470 all the way up there to 500. That's a 30-point move. Nice move for Lockheed Martin with their earnings report, getting a nice little push higher. And I could see this pushing a lot of those kind of defensive names higher also. Let's take a look at another industrial play that I took a shot on today. I took a shot on Honeywell. You guys see where I took a shot on it. I took a little bit of a starter position right here. I'm going to continue watching this. Can it pull back here and give me another entry towards 195? I got no problem trying to take a shot there towards 195. I could see this kind of holding a little bit of some pullback action here on this trend line. If we can come to this trend line, add somewhere down here towards 195, look for the 199 and 200 break back to the upside is one thing I'll be watching in Honeywell. And of course, with Honeywell, a lot of that was the outlook given by Kristen Fromhurst and myself yesterday as we were looking at General Electric like it can't stop, won't stop. Why can't this get to maybe even 100? Today, nice little move on General Electric higher, pushed up through that 97, held around the 97.73s. We'll look to see if GE can make that move towards 100. big push there in General Electric as it just turns around. Now, one area that I did take a shot in was into the airlines today. Of course, there was some major news to report, right? You had Love taking a big beating as, of course, wouldn't you know it, the systems fall down again. So this is what took me out of the UAL trade in the first place. If not, I wouldn't have got out of that UAL trade. When the Love news hit, it actually pulled back, stopped me out on this move, and then just rode higher. So the actual trade planning there was not bad, right? Going into the stock before the earnings could have seen that UAL could have a good earnings report. And remember, AAL warned earlier in the week. So I took my shot in taking a swing trade on American Airlines. You guys know I've been talking about American Airlines for some time. I've talked about how I wanted it at 14 on pullbacks. I was trying to be patient. I let it get to 14. It battled out. It took another hit because of what it talked about, right? It gave some pre-guidance that wasn't great, but we've pulled back to some levels that I kind of like. I like this support around the 1250s. So now that we got in there towards the 13s, wanted to at least have some kind of exposure in this American Airlines play. So took a shot. We'll see what happens in American Airlines. I'm in at 1309. We're at 1329 right now. So that was right here when we started coming back through the VWAP. We'll see if American Airlines can continue to fly high and if UAL can come in with some good earning report tonight. Of course, we do have some decent earnings reports coming in tonight. We got, of course, Netflix. We got United. We got some other ones coming in, of course, tomorrow before the open. Morgan Stanley. Names that definitely I want to keep on watch. Morgan Stanley was one name that I actually thought could get the lift into the report and shake all that Goldman Sachs kind of down pressure that it got hit with this morning. And you can see it. It went down and immediately out the gates, gave a nice little up move, came back to the 89, and then started holding that kind of gain. I kind of am interested in Morgan Stanley that they could just come in with just an okay report or maybe not a bad report and actually push higher right back towards this 95. So this is one that I find it very hard to play into earnings because that's just not what I do. And every time I have a tendency of jumping into earnings play, it just seems to kind of go against me. So I'm going to try to be disciplined here. Look for Morgan Stanley tomorrow, but definitely it's the idea out there. Of course, you guys make your own investment decisions, but it doesn't look too bad here. Morgan Stanley. All right, let's keep going. We could take a look at some other action. Of course, we just talked about some industrials. There's more to talk about there, but we're not going to hang around all day there. I'll keep an eye on some farm and heavy construction because DE is just climbing its way back. Picard is climbing its way back. So is CAT. We'll keep watch to see if those, for any reason, turn around. Financial services today, of course, were very important. Goldman Sachs, was this going to make its way back? After taking a beating in the pre-market, you could see that beating. It did start making its way back to 335. Now kind of coming back a little bit here. So we'll keep watch to see what happens. Bank of America, another one that kind of took a hit on their earnings, especially out the open. It took a pop on the earnings, and then right out the open, just a big flush down through those levels, even through yesterday's closing price. So we'll see what happens here on Bank of America, but it hasn't been a bad move back up towards 30.86 here on, of course, Bank of America. Let's take a look at another one that I wanted to kind of watch here. Let's go to JPM to see how that performed on the day. And you guys can see how that continued to climb higher, just climbing the wall of worry. And I know that a lot of people were thinking, will JPM turn around? Well, it hasn't. It's right back up there to 141. We missed out on a nice move, about 10% right back up. So it looks like JPM really shaking kind of the worries out there and making its way back towards recent highs before all this pandemic crisis. So it's interesting, the pandemic crisis with this financial crisis, and we're right back up there towards those March levels. So this could just keep climbing. Look at Citigroup climb, Wells Fargo climbing. So it looks like we are just climbing right back. Let's go to the KRE to see what happened there with regional banks. This is where I don't see the climb, in the regionals. So if you're thinking that the regionals is the place to be, I really don't think so. I think it's the bigger banks, right, that can go higher. That's why I was looking at like a Morgan Stanley to maybe come in with a decent report. And who knows? Last time it did a decent report, it got a nice little kind of like 5 point pop. It could 5 point pop off of this 90s right back up there towards the 95s. We'll see what happens on Morgan Stanley. I don't know the estimated move. If anybody out there has it right now, I would have to take a look at the platforms to find out, but doesn't look too bad right now. Catching up with the chat out there. What's going on? Hammer, how we doing? Morgan Scamley? Who knows, man? Hey, if they're making money, they're making money. What's going out there, Crow? How we doing? What you think about the sound, Crow? I still got a little piece of that bad boy. We'll see if that one can keep running today. I got that one at 299. Sold some into that little push, into the kind of that 312 push. Sold some at 310s. Been watching this one build up. Is it the AI going to take off? Who knows, man? But definitely going to keep an eye out on this one. I like how it's stair-stepping its way. Getting a little bit more volume as of late, but definitely needs to make a nice little run. We'll find out what happens here. All right. Of course, I do have some other trade. I do have the health trade on Gilead. This one started making a little bit of an uplift as of late. Started to push right back. I feel like I had this nice opportunity on the daily pullback opportunity for Gilead. We'll see if this can make this push back above the trend line, get there towards the 85. And healthcare is actually leading the pullback today. That's actually one of the worst stocks, worst sectors today. And a lot of this is pullback in biotechs and the major drug manufacturers. We were talking about how I could look for some pullback opportunities for these. And I'll keep looking for pullback opportunities because they've been really strong as of late. AbbVie, Pfizer moving right back down here. Bristol Myers pulling back a little bit there. SNY, that's been really strong. Even GSK, of course, they had some news today, some merger news. That definitely didn't help them. And you could see these kind of pull back really quickly. Of course, that doesn't mean that it's completely done, right? Look at the XLV. I think this is going to give us a nice opportunity to maybe come back towards kind of the 131 area for XLV and get back into the healthcare names. I have no problem with healthcare names kind of continuing higher. So we'll see what happens with these. Of course, I have DHR, and we'll see if that can continue to push. It's one of my top positions right now. All right, catching up with the chat. What are you looking at? It's been off your radar, Crow. Hey, who knows? Maybe it shows up back. CNSP, the Crow. Keep an eye on it. John, what are you looking at? Money Mitch, thoughts on AMD after yesterday's good-looking hammer on the daily? Let's take a look at that, right? Let's go to AMD here. In about 6 minutes, we'll be joined by our guest. Let me take off all these lines here so we can just kind of take a look at it. And you do see that hammer candle right here, right? You guys can clearly see that. Not a bad looking candle at all. So what I would put is a kind of line to the left-hand side. Let's go to the scratch here. Let me kind of erase some of these lines here for us. Let's just delete everything. Too many lines. What do you do? Start over. All right. So you can see right here, daily kind of lows towards 89.11. We could even pull this back if we wanted towards 89, right? Kind of clean this up here. 88.21's prior resistance. Is it acting as support? Seems like it is right now, right? That's where we kind of got this turnaround. 88.30's, 88.21's lines up pretty decently for me there. Look at the weekly. Look how this is pulling back, right? Can we get back into the trend and start to push a little bit higher? So let's go to the daily, start seeing that kind of trend outlook here. That's going to definitely get you this push here where you're in this kind of decline right now. You really need to see it get out of this. And what pattern is this, team? Let's see if anybody can get this pattern right. A lot of the times I talk about patterns on my book club, of course, because we're talking about these. But let's see who can get this right. Name that pattern. I normally play this with only my book club, but let's see who's going to get it right today. Name that pattern. Who sees that pattern on the daily chart on AMD? Who's going to get it right in the chat on Name That Pattern? This is what we do on the book club. So if you guys want to join in on the book club, learn a little bit more about patterns, check it out. But of course, this is none other than Let's see. Anybody in the chat got it? Who's paying attention? Let's see. Who's going to get this one? AMD's pattern here with a hammer candle at the bottom. The bull flag, of course. Mystery man coming in with a nice call out. Yes, bull flag. Why is it the bull flag versus the bull pennant versus a bullish channel? You could call it a bullish channel. I don't see that as a bad thing, but necessarily it's a flag because we have two trend lines heading in the same direction and not breaking towards prior support. So I kind of like this action, and you can measure here the flag action a little bit higher. This is about 22.46 points. So from the breakout, maybe we can get 26 points higher. Now, one thing that you clearly see is you saw the hammer candle. So we don't really want to see it close below that close. That's 89.80. Right now, you're really close towards 89.99. Will we get right back into the 90 handle and just close above that? If it can close above 90, you're not looking too bad at all. So we'll keep an eye out on AMD. If it can really start reversing and just push higher. What's going to take us higher? It's going to be the earnings reports, of course. So we got to keep an eye out on that, right? Netflix reporting tonight. How will Netflix report? I played it today multiple times, but I'm not sure how the earnings will come out. I feel a little bit bullish, of course, because of password sharing, but who knows really what's going to happen to Netflix. I know I'm not going to take a bet on it, but I will be watching it tomorrow to see what happens with that reaction. If Netflix is higher, are we opening green tomorrow? I'll definitely be watching that, because if we can start climbing the wall of worry, especially through these earnings, because it's been a while, but almost every time, right, it seemed like we were going to get kind of these earnings reports, and it was going to be like some really scary reports. That's not what we're seeing again. And so that's one thing that I want to keep an eye out for. Are we going to get kind of that, real tape bomb type of earnings, or maybe one of the big boys warning ahead of time? Something to keep an eye out for. But right now, it seems like everything is a little bit rosy. Let's just be honest. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is going on. Do I get a cookie? Yes, you get a cookie, mystery man. You get the star today, baby. You know what you are, my friend? You are a winner today, baby. Smash that like. Let's keep it going. Let's take a look at what else is going on. Red sky setup. Let's keep taking a look there. Netflix, we'll see if that can push right back up with some earnings, especially getting back up here towards, let's say, 346, 350s. This will be looking good tomorrow. Of course, that could affect Disney. Disney will report earnings. Well, not report earnings, but we'll be moving off of Netflix's earnings. So Disney not looking too bad here towards the close. You can see how that's pushing a little bit up towards the 101. We'll see if this can continue climbing a little bit higher. Let's go to the Qs here. Are we getting that power hour run? We've kind of gotten a nice little push back higher, right? From 3 to about 325. Will we come back to the 318s, or will we make our way to the VWAP? That's one thing that I'll be watching here on the Qs. One thing that you can also see, if you go to the 15, you kind of have this declining trend line that we got to keep an eye out for. Are we just going to keep declining and breaking through lows through that 318? Well, we got to be careful if that's what's going to happen. Gilead getting a nice little uplift here towards the end. This one's looking great for me now, up almost about 0.5% and starting to work some of the other positions a little bit higher. We'll see what happens to these. All right, it's about 3:30. We'll be joined in just a few minutes by, of course, Ryan Rosbiani. Let's keep it going. What's going on out there, Scott? It's good to have you in the chat. All right, let's take a look at what other stocks are making a move on the day. Technology definitely pulled back. Financial services just starting to tweak back into the green. I'm telling you, I will be looking at Morgan Stanley's report to see what happens. That's before the open tomorrow. Let's take a look at the earnings calendar, see if there's anything else that stands out for us here. One that I would be looking at also is ASML. I think that's a very important outlook, because I'm going to be watching to see what happens to semiconductor equipment and material stocks. This one recently down gap, right? And it's right off the lows. Will this start to break down? That's one thing to keep in mind, right? Of course, These have already made a nice little run, but you see some topping action as of late. And this is where it really kind of get a little bit more of a scary outlook, that rejection of 670. So I want to see if we can hold yesterday's close, not get below that. That's going to be 638, and work our way back to 670 with this earnings report tomorrow, especially if we can close some of this gap right back up there to 660s. 670s could be in reach. We'll have to wait and find out after the report. Another one that shows up here that most don't know is what? Alliance Health, right? That's one thing that we're going to keep on watch. That's ELV, one of the ones that I like to watch in the healthcare plan space. It's just recently pulled back about a day or two. I think with this report could be right back up there to 500. If there's one that I might take a shot on, it might be right here on Alliance Health here. It's going to be really dependent on some of the reports that report tonight. I'm not so big on taking stocks into earnings. That's where it gets difficult, team, because truly that's not my bread and butter. So I'm probably just going to watch this one, see what happens to the earnings. But I do like this one, especially if it has a nice move tomorrow back above 490s. Can it get towards that 500? I'll keep it on the radar. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? Jay Rice, how we doing? All right, let me just go ahead and check in on Ryan. I'm sure he should be here in just a few minutes. There you go. He should be coming in here in just a few seconds. If not, I'll definitely just kind of make sure, and we'll just keep rolling here. All right, GFAI done. Yeah, it could be done there. Let's take a look there. GFAI already back down there towards 23.15. Probably already done it. I mean, it had a wicked rally, right? We'll see what happens on that one as it starts to fade away. Sound, still watching that one. It's still holding into the threes here. Going to give me a nice little rip here towards the close. I don't mind starting to swing it, but it gives me a nice close here. That's what I'll be looking at. All right, let's take a look back into the overall market. Are we going to get ourselves that power hour rally? You can see how we've been kind of bearish all day long here on the Qs. Let's see if we can just put in a nice last 15-minute candle here, pushing higher. Actually, we'll get two more candles on the 15-minute. We'll get this one to close at 3:45, and then we'll get, of course, the 4 o'clock closing candle. If this could push back towards, let's say, like 319, we're back up through the VWAP. We could see ourselves a nice little push here towards the end of the day. Apple looking like it wants to push a little bit higher. Microsoft been going sideways all morning long. Of course, it had that news with an AI chip that could be kind of pushing it higher. NVIDIA's pulled back. We'll see if that's back towards VWAP. All right, now we do got Ryan joining up in the back. He'll be with me in just a couple of seconds. He'll let me know when he's ready here. Just taking a look at the Qs to see if we get this rally. I've been looking to see it because I think that you're going to see a little bit of the kind of like a Netflix run right into the close here. I don't have any more piece, but that's just because I sold it earlier on the day. I could see this kind of pushing a little bit higher here. UAL. These stocks, one of the things that I'm looking for, are we getting these runs into earnings? And it seems like we are. Goldman Sachs was one that I talked about today. I talked about it on live trading. UAL not looking too bad. That's why I also was looking at a Morgan Stanley. As that pushes higher towards 90.25, we'll look to see if we get to 90.50, but doesn't look too bad at all. Yeah, easy. Let's see what the real one is. Interesting into Netflix. It will be interesting to kind of find out. Cybersecurity. What about Pan W? How's that one doing? I know I've been keeping an eye out. It has been pulling back, but this thing just stays strong. It doesn't turn around. This thing pulls back, gets that next lift. We'll see what happens. What's up with the CrowdStrike? That's continuing to lift. Doesn't look too bad there with some cybersecurity. All right, that's going to do it, at least for my stocks here. I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guest for the day. We got Ryan Rosbiani. You guys smash the like. Let's get into the action. What's going on,
buddy? Doing good, man. How are you? How's everything?
Hey, another day, man. Just kind of checking in on the markets, looking to see if we're going to get a little bit of a rally here towards the close, kind of like we got yesterday. It's been a tough day for sure, as we got in that pullback right out the gates. A little bit of a bull trap today. But what did you see?
It was an interesting day for sure. So that little mini kind of pop in the morning was very suspicious to me. So looking at SPY, I woke up and I'm like, we're at 416. This does not make any sense to me because I know like that 415 to 417 range is notorious on SPY for being a
Yeah.
pain point. So I'm just like looking at that and I'm like, this is a pop on pre-market. The volume's so low. And I was like, I don't trust this, but I'll go with whatever the trend is. And right out the bat, she broke that 415 and it whoosh, just flushed all the way down. And it was a beautiful move. It's a beautiful move. And it's been trying to make its way back up. But to me, looking at this, it looks like a really big bear flag. And honestly, Netflix is what's going to constitute the move going into the after hours and into tomorrow. If Netflix does well, the tech market should follow. If Netflix does bad, tech market will unfortunately follow that one too.
Yeah, it's interesting, really, because it's really what it's going to come down to. I feel like the volume's been slowing down up here, and it's all like, let's wait on the big boys, right? Let's see what happens with some of the big boys that give us a little bit of sign of confidence. Netflix reports tonight, of course, that's going to be one definitely to kind of catch an eye out for. How do you feel about Netflix overall?
It's going to be interesting because Netflix is one of those consumer stocks, right? So to me, Netflix, it's a tech stock, but it's also something people buy. It's a subscription-based service. So it's also a want-based product, not a need-based product. And we saw retail sales data come out last week, down almost 50% year over year, and people aren't spending as much money as they used to. So I'm interested to see if people have been cutting the cord on Netflix or have they been keeping it on, and how have they been growing? Are they bringing on more customers? They surprised a bit last quarter, but the past few quarters before that, it was quite ugly. So I want to see how that goes there. Also, they've been rolling out their gaming stuff, so I want to see how that's been impacting. I don't think too many people are going to be inclined to play Netflix video games. I saw on the app for the first time a few nights ago, but I'm interested to see. But you can see like a lot of these stocks are stuck under that 200 simple moving average. I think that's what your yellow line is.
Yeah.
Stuck under that 200 simple, and if it can get the juice and numbers are good, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes for a move. It's already set for an 8% implied move to the up or downside depending on how things go. But one thing that I'd say is if you're playing options, be very careful. You could get IV crushed if this doesn't move as much as it's expected to move.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. One thing to kind of keep in mind is, will they keep giving us subscriber numbers? Will they kind of mention what happens with the ad tier? Is the subscribers just coming from the ad tier itself, right? I think we'll get some
Right.
more info on how that's going, right? I mean, this is second quarter now that they have that data. Will they let us know exactly what's going on underneath the hood? We'll find out, of course, from Netflix. It's always usually kind of like prepared speech from Netflix. I know
Of
that
course.
you guys have probably seen those earnings reports. They're interesting. I take a look at them with Netflix. My biggest thing is, they like to talk, of course, about their biggest names, and I don't mind that, but I want to know what's coming next, right? What are
Right.
we going to look forward to? Not necessarily about what kind of show had the best results last quarter, because the truth is that's over and done with, right? It's about the
True.
future. We'll find out what happens there in Netflix, and a move back above 350. I think that gives it a little bit of sign of confidence that this gap fill was not just some kind of like, just fill
Fluke.
up and that it's going to, come right back down through it, right? Well, it's the big report right here, I think. So we'll find out what
Yeah.
happens there in Netflix. All right,
Q1
getting out
across
of
the board is going to be a pain. It's going to be like not a pain rather, but it's going to be very important for all these companies because it's make or break.
yeah, definitely. And a lot of these companies are definitely getting towards very like kind of right back up towards highs, right? So any type of earnings report that doesn't come in their favor could really kind of break this move right back down. Like an
Right.
Nvidia,
Exactly.
I mean, we're going to definitely be watching Nvidia's report to see what happens on Nvidia. Actually, let's see what I have for calendar date of Nvidia right now. I have here 23. I don't think I have a confirmed date just yet here for Nvidia, but I'm going to keep an eye out on that because I think that's definitely going to be one of the more interesting stocks to watch. Tesla reports, of course, later this week. What do you
Oh
feel
yeah.
about the Tesla Dragon, man? We get into 200
Tesla.
or are we going to 150?
Tesla is one of my largest holdings, so I have a lot invested in what Tesla does. Um, I think that with their number beat on the car deliveries, it's going to be good on the revenue side, but on the margin side, they're going to take another hit, just as they did last quarter. Because when they start cutting prices, and they cut prices even more significantly in Q1 than they did in Q4 of 2022. So I think the margins are going to take a much bigger hit there, and I don't think investors are going to be too happy with that. It all depends on how they project for moving forward. Is this kind of like with these price cuts, just like a hat trick that they did, like a magic trick they did and pulled out of their hat to kind of trick people into buying more cars, and now like those people have already bought the cars, how much more capacity of selling of these cars can you have? So I'm interested to see that move there as well. It's also going to be a violent move that literally will move the S&P and the Nasdaq.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it can get that move. One thing that I always look for is like, what's the next driver? You know, I was thinking that that Tesla Semi would actually get them moving, but man, I don't hear anything mentioned of that. That's like,
Neither do I.
that's like a rock in the cave there. You know, you only hear the echo. There's nothing there right now. So it's going to be about the Cybertruck, right? I think that's what will be the next key driver for Tesla. It's not necessarily even their deliveries, I feel like, because let's just be honest. Even if they miss usually by what, a couple thousand. It's not that they're missing by like 30,000, 40,000 vehicles here. So I think in that case, you'll just see Tesla hang around until it can get some type of catalyst to really move it. I think it could run into the earnings, but the only question is after that, do we just run into more resistance above towards that 200 area, where I think it's going to be a little bit pesky to get through. But then again, you know how you look at charts, right? Because I mean, if you rewind far enough on the daily, some people could say that this is kind of like a head and shoulders action here at the bottom, right? I mean,
Inverse
depends who you're talking, but inverse head and shoulders action there at the bottom, right?
All the technical analysis goes out the window once a fundamental factor like earnings comes in and throws everything out the door. You know, so it's all fun and games until one number comes out.
Boy. He knows it. He knows it. He knows it. I was literally gonna get to that. I was like, yeah, it's all. That's why that inverse head and shoulders. Well, you could probably throw that out the window, because the truth is you won't know it gets to that neckline until you get some fundamental news like earnings. Right. So keep an eye out. We'll see what happens on there. Any kind of trades that you're actually looking at right now, Ryan, so we can talk a little bit about some of those. I've talked, of course, about some of the bigger boys here. What do you want to get into?
So one thing that I love about earnings season is playing the reaction to earnings. That's what I found, something that's been really, really beneficial and very fun, right? Instead of having to play the actual thing and gamble on what could happen. Now you take a look at what the after effects are of a move that happens, right? For example, let's say Netflix bombs today. Tomorrow you're going to have more sell-offs into the open. So I like to watch that. Or United Airlines. If you can't play United and the volatility is high now, full transparency, I haven't looked at the play at all. And if earnings are bad, they might not be pretty. But if United does well or does bad, you can play sympathy plays like Delta, Spirit Airlines, Ryanair. So all these different companies that are publicly traded, you can play them as sympathy plays because they tend to move together. Or you can play the Jets ETF, JETS, which has all these airliners built into them.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We'll actually have Frank Holmes on tomorrow, and he runs Jets. So if you guys want to check that out tomorrow on PreMarket Prep, definitely check that out. And I liked how you went with Ryanair, right? I mean, you know, Ryan Rosiani has to bring up Ryanair.
It's not my airline. They're actually very cheap.
Not yet, man. Maybe one day you can buy them, change up their name a little bit, fix that ticker symbol a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know who decided on that one.
Right, Ryanair. They should just been Ryan, right? I don't know, but come on,
I'm pretty sure the ticker's available too.
All right, we'll take a look at those airlines. Just kind of give the disclosure. Also, that's why I'm swing trading American. I feel like you saw the love get hit today. I felt like there's no reason really to hit American Airlines and UAL on that. That's more of a Southwest issue, at least it seems like. But even that recovered. You can see it. It had that first down shake.
Yeah, because it
back.
was an overreaction. Like they had a technical difficulty. This kind of stuff happens all the time. It's not like they're going to be down for days or weeks or months on end. It's just I think, Mark, what happens is the algorithms pick up these headlines and then they overreact and trade. 70% of the market is algorithmic trading. So when those algorithms hear a bad headline, they just automatically create a sell, or they initiate short positions, or they buy puts massively. And it causes a drop within the stock. But realistically, like it's a it's like, okay, cool. Like the airline messed up. It's not like it's going to be forever.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it'll be forever. And that's why I went after American Airlines after that. Once I noticed what was really going on and why we saw the downturn in kind of UAL and Love there, I was like, you know what? I'll take a shot on American Airlines because American already got hit because of kind of the little bit of guidance given forward that was, a step back down. And then Love comes out with this. They take another discount because of that. And it's pretty close to some prior daily lows. So got to take some shots, right? I mean, in this market, if you're not here to take shots, you're probably going to get run over, and you got to be quick with them, right? So tomorrow, let's say UAL just kicks it out the water with their earnings, and they're up there towards like 45. Well, you'll probably see me smacking that sell button really quickly in American versus taking a long time. But if we just stair step our way, I don't mind the chart, especially since we're near this kind of support area on American Airlines. And also just to kind of mention that outlook, it seems like we're not going towards this recession. And if we ain't going to get recession, these airlines probably ain't going to take a beating. They're making more money.
I don't know about that, but
we'll see. You think there's still something on the horizon, Ryan?
Oh, definitely, man. Those people aren't spending money. No one's spending money. Markets. I'm not talking about just the stock market. I'm talking about like people. Yeah. Like people are drowning. Everything's so expensive. Rates are still going to keep going up for at least one more hike. We still haven't felt the full effects of them. I don't see us out of this. Either we go to war. That's the one way to avoid a recession is a war, or we're going to a recession. I'd rather go into a recession than go into a war. Because the recession eventually comes after.
Hopefully not the first one yet, but we'll definitely have to keep an eye out. Like always, you guys can keep out with everything that Ryan Rosbiani does. And I know that you've been doing those stock watch on Sundays where you go through some charts, 8 p.m. on Sundays. Definitely catch my man Ryan going through some stocks. He's going to keep it going. So if you guys are hanging out on Sundays and you guys just want to go through some charts, definitely hit us up right here on Benzinga, of course. Ryan, we'll definitely have you back on. Have a good one, my friend. Take care.
Appreciate you guys. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right. We're getting Ryan out of here, guys. We're going to keep taking a look into the market. How are we looking right now? You guys in the chat, what are you guys looking at? What's moving? Look at the cues coming back here, team. Did we get ourselves a little bit of a power hour run? It actually doesn't look too bad. I mean, since 3 p.m., we've actually started to go up. Doesn't look that bad there. And I will let you guys know that I did get sound here. Just taking a look at it, it's still kind of moving up higher. So I'm going to go ahead and ride that swing trade on sound. Of course, I took some profit earlier in the day, so that's why I'm able to take the shot. We'll see what happens there. Honeywell starting to at least make its way back. We'll see what happens on that trade there. American Airlines starting to work its way higher. This doesn't look too bad. UAL continuing to 43.19s. Netflix, that one looks a little bit iffy. We'll find out what happens on Netflix after the bell, of course. Will it kind of give Disney the lift? Will it give Disney the drop? Of course, find out tomorrow on PreMarket Prep. I'll be going over it with Dennis Dick. And, of course, we'll take a look at the market. Now I leave a little bit of time for some ticker time. You guys in the chat, what do you guys want to take a look at? Throw up some tickers. We'll go through them. It's like surfing, dude. You take a look at the wave and you say, hey, bud, let's party. Let's party, baby. What other ones are doing well? I saw DraftKings mentioned. DraftKings, nice little uplift move. And good-looking chart now. We're starting to see a little bit of some bottoming in these kind of gambling names. Can we really start seeing some lift? I know Penn is not looking good. This is not looking good. I will say that. And, of course, you guys know me with my bag, the Genie life. One day, maybe Genie will get up there. It's definitely as an investment in the account, just sitting in the back. But we'll see what happens there on Genius Sports. And GAN up at $1.49. Can't believe I used to like this company, but I did. And that's how quickly stories can change. You got to be quick. You got to be nimble. All right, catching with the chat. Roku. Roku looks interesting here. If we are going to go higher, look at the daily chart here as we start to push a little bit up here. You at least know your out is 60. That's what I like about this Roku outlook. It could push higher. This looks to me a lot like ARKK. I'm looking at ARKK. I'm like, are we going to push higher through the 40? Are we going to get this growth stock breakout? So I'm keeping an eye out on names like Unity, names like Shop, if they can continue going higher. Of course, we guys know we swung trade Shop yesterday. Looks like we could have got a little bit more on it, but can't be mad about Shop. It's been a nice little push up here from this kind of trend line, just pushed right back to the upside and could keep going. I like Shopify, especially if Amazon is going to continue pushing higher. Even though Amazon's in the red today, it did push back above that 100. Looking to see if it can hold that 100 to continue climbing right back towards 108 and 113s for Amazon. Smash the like if you guys are enjoying the action out there. Let's keep going. Let's see what else is out and being talked about. BAC holding and starting to pop. Let's take a look at that. 5 minutes here. You guys can see how that's just holding up. As long as it doesn't go back below that VWAP, it still looks pretty decent on the day as it starts to make its way back after really getting hit right out the open there on Bank of America. Biotech getting smashed. Yes, it could come back, Change Agent. I think that's one of those that, takes a step back and then could easily just be bouncing back tomorrow. SOX L being mentioned in the chat. Of course, that's kind of the bullish outlook for semiconductor. Look how this came back today towards the end of the day. So you got to keep watch really what happens on Netflix. It's going to make a big outlook on what's happening overall in technology. Again, a friend from some in the past. Yeah, that's how it is. You know what I mean? Ride, Nicola, got time for these two? Ride and Nicola, of course. We'll see what happens to these. Man, Nicola's down below $1. Oh, I remember when this first came out and this was up at 70. Oh man, next time I gotta take a shot on one of these like big name shorts. One day I'll take a shot, team. We'll see what happens. Nicola. All right, let's keep going. What else is being talked about in the chat? Run. Forgot to run today on that upgrade. I feel you, Christopher Martin. I was watching to see if Run was going to get a lift today. I was watching a couple of solar stocks, but also look where it pulled back to. It pulled back to yesterday's support. So it doesn't mean that this is completely over with. I would watch tomorrow to see if we can get back above 2070 for Run. Right? It doesn't look too bad. Array was another one that I was looking at, and this also pulled back on me towards the support. So I'll look to see if we can break 22 tomorrow. We can break 22 tomorrow. It still is not going to look bad here. First Solar actually in the green today, looking strong. Who talked about First Solar yesterday? Christian Fromhertz. Where? Right here. Start swing trading, of course. He was looking at the stronger one in the area, and you can see why he picked the stronger name. Has a tendency of staying strong, right? ENPH, actually a nice move up higher. So it wasn't all negative in solar. These names are ending the day pretty decent here on the move, especially towards the end. Look at the Qs go here, team. Last kind of action here, 5 minutes. Let's go to the 15 minutes. I talked about would we get the reversal right back to 319. We're almost there, team. The power hour rally coming back here, team. You guys saw the thumbnail. It came here. I had that feeling, but the only question is, will it hold? Because Netflix will really be the determining factor. And Netflix is actually going red now here, back through the open. So I don't know so much about Netflix tonight, but there's only one way to find out. Tune in, of course, to the earnings and find out what happens. You guys can, of course, keep up with all the action with Benzinga Pro, pro.benzinga.com. Get your 2-week trial. You don't even need a credit card. Holding my breath on Netflix earnings. Any thoughts? Says Lucky You Garcia. Well, I hope you got some lucky because you will need it, my friend Garcia. We'll find out. Really, the truth is there's some positive, there's some negative that could happen here. I'd pay attention to things on the ad tier, things on password sharing, and of course, just take a look to see if they beat on, I think they'll beat for sure on revenue. They have a tendency of beating. Now, where they could see a little droppage is maybe EPS. let's take a little kind of peek at what the recent report has been and how many kind of beats we've had. And I only see here on revenue one miss in like the last like 12 quarters on revenue, and two misses on EPS in like those same kind of 12 last quarters. So with that one being said, what would I be looking for? I'd be looking for a beat and a beat, but then it's going to be more about subscribers, more about the password sharing, and more about, of course, how the ad tier is doing, and is there getting the ad revenue that they're looking for to get with, of course, that tier. We'll find out here, of course, after the bell, and it'll be reported in just about 3 minutes. So smash the like, team. When does Bullard speak next? Said Hammer. No. We need Bullard to go away, not speak more. EKS, Microsoft reportedly working on its own AI chip. Yeah, we were talking about that. And I was wondering if Microsoft was going to recover. Look how it's recovering here at the end here. So it doesn't look too bad. If for any reason we can get some up action in tech, I think you'll see Microsoft recover on the daily. Let's see if it keeps holding the 9 EMA and keeps climbing up higher. Right back through 290 tomorrow will be an interesting move there for Microsoft. We'll find out, of course. You guys smash the like. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the day. Smash it up, team. Like always, I'll be here tomorrow. Start swing trading. We'll have Option Mike back in the, of course, the hot seat. We'll have a guest on. We'll take a look at the market. We'll take a look at the swing trades that I got on. DHR, really good top play for me right now. And I'm taking even some smaller plays like Sound AI. We'll find out how it all works out. You guys smash the like, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Of course, keep pushing hard and working on your own skills. What is working? What is not? What are the two situations that you're looking for continued upside? And what's the downside outlook? Situational thinking could definitely keep you in the edge. We'll see you next time right here on Start Swing Trading.